Okay, make sure when you go to do Corel Draw, you hit File, New, and that it says 18 by 6, 18 width, 6 height. Okay, one of the things you can do with the zoom button in that little corner is do the pan. That means you could drag this where you want. Okay, anyways, so what you're gonna do, I'm gonna go over the plaque. So you need text. You're just gonna click and write your name. Capital letters are better, and I'm gonna do another video about that. So let's make this like 200. When you grab stuff, you have to grab it in the middle. Notice that makes a little X. When it makes a little X, it can grab onto it. Okay, you're gonna go above the color, the black color, and you're gonna hit the X. Then you're gonna right click on red. Right click means your right finger on the right side of the mouse. Okay, so now that is outlined, which is good. The next thing you're gonna do, I'm actually still have the text button, so I'm just gonna click and write class of 2023. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the pick tool, that's the arrow. And when as long as I have a hold of that, as long as it's highlighted, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna go to contour. Now, this hints bar, if you don't have hints, you would go to help, click on hints. Then there's a little plus sign here, and when you hit the plus sign, you would find contour. Mine is already there. So, this is important. These 3 boxes above, if you hover over them, they say what they stand for. This one is center, this one is inside corner, this one is outside corner. We're clicking on that. Underneath where it says corner, we're gonna round it in the middle. You don't have to, you'll see how it looks different. And on this one, it doesn't really matter about the colors or what colors these are. We're going to click the down arrow in the second part. It's not clicking down. Oh, it's because it was. Anyways, we want this 0.007. Usually it's 0.1 and you can click down to 0.007. We're gonna hit apply. And you could see it's already, because I hit, you could see the green. Let me change this green. Darker is actually better because it helps you. This seems too small. I'm gonna do 2 steps and hit apply. I'm gonna do 3 steps and hit apply. Maybe I wanted this 0.07. Let me try this. Okay, now you can see that got really big, and maybe I meant 0.07. I don't remember, but I'm gonna put that back down to 1 step, so you can see the steps with the colors. Okay, so the only reason we're doing this is so that it can go in the middle of your name. Okay, now since we want that to be wood, where it's going to etch that, we have to use, over on the left, underneath the bucket, is the Smart Fill tool, or I think it's called interactive. I have to click inside the letter A. Now, if I just click somewhere else, it's going to do everything, so undo that. If I click in here, it's going to fill in the middle. I don't want that. We want the A, M. I'm actually going to have you do the E and the N, even though they're not connected. And there's a reason why. But go back to the pick tool. This is important. Go back to the arrow tool. And it didn't go back to the arrow tool, so I'm still coloring things in blue, so I'm going to hit that again. All right, I'm going to move that out of the way. Now, what I want to do is I want to get rid of these red lines because I do not want the wood to cut through there. So the whole name is moving, which is great. And I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to then highlight by drawing a big box around name. And I'm going to check a couple of things. So I'm going to go to Object Properties. If you don't have that, you have to hit this plus sign and then check Object Properties at the top. Okay, so now we want this to cut, so we want it to be hairline, not 0.5. So I'm going to click hairline. The second thing is we don't want any color, so we're going to click the X. Perfect. Now we want to put our class of 2023 back in, but we do not want this contour. So I'm going to go back to contour, or you could have made a copy of it, but I'm going to go back to contour. I'm going to put this as a 0 and hit apply. Now this should be, I'll still see a highlight here. Anyways, okay, I'm going to go to object properties. Now a lot of times you have to hit the letter because this is, actually see this uniform fill? Make sure these both say no fill. And then this last thing should say, not hairline, sorry, hairline would cut it. We don't want to cut, so we're going to choose 0.5. So you can see what it looks like. It really doesn't need the color in it, so I can X on the color. Now it's just going to etch this. I'm going to click on the letter to make sure it's 0.5 and not hairline. We don't want it to cut. So I'm going to slide this back in where I made room for it. I can see where the L is supposed to be. Okay, so you want to slide this around where it looks like it should go. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. Now, you're only supposed to take up 1/4 of this board, so mine is a little big. I'm just going to grab the whole thing. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to move it. It doesn't really matter what corner it is, I can move it. Okay, we're going to add one more thing, which is a rectangle. So go to the left, grab rectangle, and we're going to draw a rectangle around this. Let me move this out of the way. Undo that. So once you're off the rectangle tool, you have to go back to the pick tool. So, which it didn't do. Okay, undo. Go back to the little arrow, pick. Okay, I'm going to grab the rectangle, and I want to move this down just a little more. You want it to be off of the edge of this board for me. So I'm going to put the rectangle back around, and then when you grab rectangle, you have 3 choices up here. You have a rounded corner, a scalloped, or just a, I don't know what they called it, angled. So that's the corner radius. 0.2 is a good place to start. And the last thing you want to check on the object properties, that this is hairline. Okay, and then you're ready to go. You get the flash drive from me, you do File, Save As, and you have to choose D, which isn't even on here because there's no flash drive in. So if I put one in, it says Region CD. That's where you're going to save this. Okay, then you hit Save. You wait a minute for it to save and pull the flash drive back out.